What is going on, DC fans? Welcome to my official Suicide Squad spoiler-filled movie review. Now again, keep in mind guys, this video will contain loads of spoilers, so if you guys don't want to know what happens in this film, check out my spoiler-free review. I will link it down in the description below. But nevertheless guys, let's jump into the newest DC film, Suicide Squad. Now people may be wondering whether or not this film was better than Batman v Superman. Now personally for me, I would have to say that this film exceeds Batman v Superman in terms of story development and in terms of an overall movie in general. Batman v Superman had its pros, mainly its cons, but I would have to say this movie isn't really perfect either. But jumping into the gist of the film, I would have to say this. I believe that personally for me, both Deadshot and Harley Quinn made the movie that much better. I think both of those characters made the movie that much entertaining as well. The same thing goes for Killer Croc, same thing goes for, all of the characters within the actual film. We have Captain Boomerang, we had Amanda Waller, who was the so-called, I guess you could say, person that was getting on the Suicide Squad's case in terms of, them having to fulfill their role and for them having to do what they had to do. Personally for me, I would have to say, if you guys had to ask me who my favorite character was, I would have to say Deadshot. Harley Quinn, Margaret Robbie, played an amazing role. She is absolutely beautiful and I think represented Harley Quinn very, very well. Now in terms of the Joker, Jared Leto, now people are going to obviously make the comparison to Heath Ledger's Joker. Now I will say that the Joker that we saw in this specific film was very different in comparison to Heath Ledger's Joker. Very, very different. In this particular film, we see him all blinged out. He has tattoos. I would have to say he's not as psychotic as Heath Ledger's Joker, but I will say this Joker had more of a moral conscience to him. We see him how much he cared for Harley Quinn. He was actually in pursuit of finding her and bringing her back. He was definitely crazy. He was definitely psychotic. But if I had to pick, I would obviously go with Heath Ledger's Joker because Heath portrayed a very, very iconic role, and he put on a performance that I don't think nobody will ever top. Now in terms of Jared Leto, we still have to give him some time because the Joker wasn't featured as much as we all wanted him to in this particular film, but we do see him get into a tussle with Batman in a way. We see him, just pursuing Harley Quinn. He wants to, find her and get a hold of her. Now, to sum up the entire movie using only a few sentences, the Flash is in the movie. We see the Witch is the main villain, and obviously Harley Quinn was the one to rip her heart out and pretty much finish her off and kill the Witch. We see Batman is still focusing on formulating the Justice League after Superman's death because obviously enough, this takes place after Batman v Superman, and the Joker was looking for Harley Quinn the entire time. So while Joker was looking for Harley Quinn, we see, Batman trying to put together the Justice League, and we see the Flash is in there as well, as I said, and he was the one that actually managed to capture Captain Boomerang and bring him into justice, while Batman was able to catch Deadshot after following a lead and bring him into justice. Now in terms of Will Smith's role, I think Deadshot also stood out the most to me. He was, I guess you could say, on a grand level, he was kind of like the alpha male, sort of like the leader of the team, and we see Harley Quinn being as sexy as always, but I think Deadshot definitely had more screen time than anyone else. I think for me personally, I wasn't too fond of Captain Boomerang or of Diablo. Diablo definitely had an important role towards the very end, but towards like the first half and the second half of the films, he wasn't really involved as much. I would have loved to see Killer Croc definitely have more of an involvement with, his enemies and stuff, because he was ferocious. He was picking dudes up, he was throwing them around, he was slamming them against the wall and stuff. It was really, really cool. So the events of this movie take place after Batman v Superman, and we get to see the Enchantress pretty much go against the grain, go against the government. She brings her brother back, and obviously enough, due to Amanda Waller, who ranks very high in the government, she wanted to put the Suicide Squad together in hopes of defeating the Enchantress and her brother and stuff, because like we saw how her brother came back, and she pretty much was an ancient witch that was around for millennia or whatever, and she was able to get a hold of like this temple, this bottle, whatever, and she was able to set her brother free via opening this bottle and pretty much allowing his spirit to take over someone's body. And we see how she wanted to get her heart back because Amanda was the one in control of the witch by having her heart. So if the witch had her heart back, she would have full control and nobody would be able to pretty much tell her what to do or force her to do anything. So the cons to this film, I would have to say, is that there are too many plot holes in the film, too many contradictions in a way. We see the Suicide Squad sent on a mission to retrieve and rescue someone, and in fact it turns out to be Amanda Waller, the very lady that put these microchip bombs inside of everyone's neck, and she threatened everybody by saying, if you don't do as I say, I'm gonna blow your freaking head off. So obviously enough, everyone had a very important role, and they had to follow Captain Flag's orders alongside Amanda. Otherwise, Amanda would blow essentially everyone's head off. And this small chip that's as tiny as a grain of rice was stronger than a hand grenade. So if she was actually able to detonate it, she would essentially kill somebody and blow their entire freaking head off easily by detonating that little chip if they didn't follow any orders. So the film itself, once they rescued Amanda, kind of felt very emotional because, I mean, everyone was promised their freedom in a way by Captain Flag, because Captain Flag's mission was to, you know, stop the witch, because the witch actually was the one to inhabit the very body of the person that he fell in love with, which was another woman in the film. Can't remember her name right now, but still, he had a role, Amanda had a role, and the Suicide Squad had a role, and everyone had like their own agendas. Amanda wanted to stop the witch and her brother from, you know, pretty much destroying the entire world. The Army Soldier Flag wanted obviously to get rid of the witch and have his woman back, and the Suicide Squad, they wanted their freedom, so they had to listen. They had to listen, otherwise they would all die. So it's either comply or die. So one of the weakest points in this film, I believe, also was the very end, having to see everyone fight the witch. Nevertheless, it was a decent battle at best, but we see how Harley Quinn was the one to pretty much trick the witch into pretty much killing her and ripping her heart out, which again, I didn't really have a problem with. But we saw how there was one specific scene where Joker pretty much managed to save Harley Quinn and figured out a way how to deactivate the bomb in her neck. And in retrospect, Amanda having to see this, she pretty much gave Deadshot orders to take out Harley Quinn, and at first he didn't want to do it, but then once she offered him a contract, so to say, because obviously enough, Deadshot is a hitman, she promised that if Deadshot were to kill Harley Quinn, that she would promise him freedom. She would also promise, Deadshot that his daughter would go through school and all that kind of stuff. So Deadshot had to make the ultimate choice of either killing Harley Quinn or having his freedom, and instead he chose to not kill Harley Quinn. So I didn't really understand that, because if you're put in a situation where you're either serving life in prison or taking someone's life, in which case you don't really know them, you don't really have any association with them, it's like what would you guys do? You know what I'm saying? So they definitely focused more on Deadshot's role here, not so much Joker or Captain Boomerang or anybody else. I am actually quite satisfied that Ben Affleck was in the film as Batman, and the way he was able to bring Deadshot into justice, and the way the Flash was able to bring Captain Boomerang into justice and stuff. But also, I would have to say, if there was one character that I really wish had more screen time, that would be Killer Croc, because in terms of him having to fight the enemies and stuff, he was very powerful, and we see how he maneuvers throughout the sewers and stuff. It was pretty funny, especially towards the end, where towards the very end, once they got rid of the witch, everyone assumed that they would have their freedom, but Amanda pretty much lied, and she was like, all right, well, I'll take 10 years off your prison sentence and whatever, and some of these dudes are serving life, so I don't know how that really, works in essence. But towards the very end, we see how Joker pretty much came to the rescue and tried to, bail Harley Quinn out of jail, and we see how, everyone is in their holding cells and they're doing their own thing, but we see Harley Quinn is let loose by Joker. He comes in there wearing a SWAT uniform or whatever, so he comes in there, he frees Harley Quinn, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be following up with a sequel to this film. Now, Rotten Tomatoes completely bashed this film. It seems as if Rotten Tomatoes completely has something against DC. Again, for me personally, I don't think this was the best, comic book film ever in history, but I do think that this was a very enjoyable film, and I do think that if you guys give this movie a chance, then you guys will also enjoy the movie yourselves. But you can't dig too far deep into this movie because it doesn't have the best story. It doesn't have like the best, cinematography and whatever, but it's very entertaining when it comes to telling a decent story and having great characters and stuff. In terms of the witch, I do wish that the witch had more of an involvement and was able to inflict more damage to our heroes than how we saw. We do get to see the deaths of Diablo in the film, because towards the very end, we see how he's battling the witch's brother, and of course there was a life and death choice to where Diablo made the choice to pretty much have the bomb that was planted there earlier activated against the brother and stuff. It was pretty hardcore stuff if you look at it. But again, I really didn't walk out of this film thinking, oh, I hate this film. I actually walked out thinking, wow, to me, this was better than Batman v Superman. So I would have to say that I would have to give this movie, again, in my opinion, at least 4 out of 5. It was really good. It wasn't the best, but certainly more enjoyable than Batman v Superman. But even with that being said, I was looking at the comments in my previous Suicide Squad spoiler-free review, and it seems as if a lot of you guys were saying that no one will ever play a better role than Heath Ledger's Joker, and it seems as if, you know, Jared Leto's performance in the film sort of brought like a modern day style of Joker, which again, I personally enjoyed it. I didn't really have a problem with it too much. I just felt as if the Joker that we saw in this film could have had more of an involvement. Again, this isn't really his film. Hopefully enough, cross your fingers, the Joker will be making an appearance in future DC films, especially with Jared Leto's Joker. I want to see what he can do. I want to see how he can stand up against Batman and Flash and everyone else. Even if he has somewhat of an involvement into what happens with the Justice League movie, that'd be pretty cool. I don't think he did a bad job, but you guys can't make the comparison to Heath Ledger's Joker, at least not yet, because once Jared Leto has his own standalone film with Joker, I think that's when you can make that comparison. So thank you all for watching once again. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more daily uploads. If you guys enjoyed the review, don't forget to punch that like button square in the face, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. Again, I want to know, like, if you guys felt as if this was sort of like a Marvel movie, because I actually heard several comments leaving the theater that certain people were just like, oh man, this felt like a Marvel film. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching once again, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. God bless. Peace.